The roar of Lagos traffic was his lullaby. Femi lay on his thin mat, another night claiming a corner of the bustling market. Above, the city sky was a distant rumor, choked by smog and the glare of streetlights. He was a man swallowed by the city, invisible to the hurried footsteps and honking horns. Femi wasn't always homeless. He remembered a small village, the warmth of family, the smell of his mother's cooking. But life had a way of changing its tune, leaving you stranded in a melody you didn't recognize. He'd come to Lagos with dreams, a hopeful melody in his heart. Now, only the city's harsh rhythm remained. He clutched the small pouch that held his only possessions, a faded photo of his mother, a worn prayer book. His stomach rumbled, a familiar ache. Sleep, elusive as ever, felt impossible. He closed his eyes, summoning memories of his village, trying to drown out the city's relentless hum. Closing his eyes, Femi dreamt of a different life, a life he yearned for. He dreamt of a kind face, a gentle touch, a glimmer of hope in this concrete jungle. Daybreak brought the city back to life. Femi watched as shopkeepers unlocked their stalls, their faces etched with the weariness of daily struggle. He knew that weariness well. He joined the throng of people, a silent, unnoticed figure amidst the chaos. Hunger gnawed at his insides. He walked for what felt like hours, his stomach a constant, painful drumbeat. He saw women frying akara by the roadside, their aroma a cruel tease. Children in school uniforms rushed past, their laughter a sharp contrast to the hollowness within him. He found himself near a bakery, the smell of fresh bread overwhelming. He stood for a while, inhaling the scent, his mouth watering. He imagined the soft texture, the taste, but the bakery was a world away, separated by an invisible wall of his circumstances. He turned away, despair threatening to engulf him. He was tired, hungry, invisible. Was there no place for him in this city of millions? As Femi trudged on, his head bowed, he felt a light touch on his arm. He looked up, startled. A young woman stood before him, her eyes filled with concern. "Baba," she said gently, "you look hungry. Please have this." She offered him a plate of food, rice and stew, still steaming. He stared at it, his throat constricting with emotion. It had been days since he'd eaten a proper meal. He looked at the woman, unsure what to say. "Take it, Baba," she insisted, her smile disarming. "It's the least I can do." Hesitantly, he accepted the plate. The food was simple, but it tasted like a feast. He ate slowly, savoring every bite, warmth spreading through his weary body. As he finished the last morsel, he looked up at the young woman, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he croaked, his voice thick with emotion. "God bless you." She smiled again, that simple act of kindness touching a life lost in the city's shadows. The woman's kindness sparked something in Femi, a flicker of hope he thought long extinguished. He started to notice the small acts of compassion around him. The shopkeeper who offered him a cup of water, the street vendor who slipped him a piece of fruit, the children who greeted him with shy smiles. He realized he wasn't invisible after all. People saw him, acknowledged his existence, even offered him their kindness. He began to hold his head a little higher, to return the smiles, to offer a helping hand where he could. One day, he found himself near a construction site, watching the laborers at work. He saw a young man struggling with a heavy load of bricks. Without hesitation, Femi stepped forward and offered to help. The young man was surprised at first, then grateful. They worked side by side, their shared effort forging a silent bond. At the end of the day, the foreman, impressed by Femi's work ethic, offered him a small payment. It wasn't much, but it was a start. With the money from his day's work, Femi bought himself a simple meal and a new mat to sleep on. It wasn't much, but it was a start. He felt a sense of accomplishment, a glimmer of hope that he could pull himself out of this situation. He continued working at the construction site, his body growing stronger, his spirit lifting with each passing day. He made friends with the other laborers, sharing stories and laughter during their breaks. For the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of belonging. One evening, as he walked back to his usual sleeping spot, he noticed a group of children huddled together, their faces etched with worry. He approached them and asked what was wrong. They pointed to a small, whimpering puppy, its leg caught in a drain. Without hesitation, Femi knelt down and carefully freed the puppy's leg. The children cheered, their faces lit up with relief and gratitude. As Femi watched them play with the now rescued puppy, he felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of purpose he hadn't realized he craved. Section 6. The Power of a Name. Word spread about Femi's kindness, his willingness to help anyone in need. He became a familiar face in the neighborhood, no longer the invisible man, but someone people recognized and greeted by name. The name Femi, meaning love me, took on a new significance. He continued working, saving every naira he earned. He rented a small room in a nearby compound, a far cry from the streets, but a palace in his eyes. He no longer slept under the open sky, exposed to the elements. He had a roof over his head, a place to call his own. One day, he came across a group of young boys huddled together, their eyes glued to a worn-out football. He remembered his own childhood, the joy of kicking a ball around with his friends. He bought them a new football, his heart swelling with a familiar warmth. As the boys erupted in cheers, thanking him with wide smiles and excited chatter, Femi realized that kindness was a two-way street. It not only uplifted others, but also filled the giver with a sense of purpose and belonging. Section 7. Learning, Growing, Healing. Life wasn't easy, but Femi faced each day with newfound determination. He learned new skills at the construction site, his work ethic earning him the respect of his fellow laborers. He even started attending a literacy class at a local community center, his desire to learn as strong as his will to survive. He wrote to his family in the village, his hand shaking with a mix of nerves and hope. He hadn't contacted them since he left, ashamed of his circumstances. But now, he had a story to tell, a story of resilience and the kindness of strangers. One day he received a letter back. His hands trembled as he opened it, his heart pounding in his chest. The words swam before his eyes, filled with love and forgiveness. His family hadn't forgotten him. They were overjoyed to hear from him, proud of his strength and determination. Tears welled up in Femi's eyes. He was no longer alone. He had found his place in the city, and more importantly, he had found his way back to himself. Section 8. A Second Chance. Femi's life had taken a remarkable turn. He was a man reborn, his spirit no longer shackled by the weight of his past. He continued working hard, saving his earnings, dreaming of a brighter future. He even volunteered at the community center, helping other homeless individuals, sharing his story, offering a hand up. He understood their struggles, their despair, but he also showed them that hope was not lost, that even in the darkest of times, a glimmer of light could lead the way. He became a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. One day, a familiar face appeared at the construction site. It was the young woman who had offered him the plate of food that fateful day. She had heard about his transformation, about his kindness and his spirit. She smiled at him, her eyes shining with admiration. "You're an inspiration, Baba," she said, her voice filled with respect. "You've shown everyone that even in the face of adversity, hope can bloom." Section 9. From Despair to Hope. Femi's story became a tale whispered on the streets of Lagos, a testament to the power of kindness and the resilience of the human spirit. He had journeyed from despair to hope, from invisibility to recognition, from loneliness to belonging. He had embraced the city that had once seemed so indifferent, and in turn, the city had embraced him. He knew his journey wasn't over. There would still be challenges, obstacles to overcome, but he faced the future with courage and optimism, his heart filled with gratitude for the kindness he had received and the strength he had found within himself. He was a testament to the fact that even in the heart of a bustling metropolis, miracles could happen, one small act of kindness at a time. And so, Femi, the once homeless man, walked on, his story a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even in the concrete jungle, the human spirit could bloom.